Welcome to the Skate Like You Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Before we jump into the episode, I just wanted to say a few things about the incredible guests and a couple additional pieces of information about this episode. Big Daddy Ray likes to have a charitable aspect to the skate event, the Philly Fall Skate Bash, and he approached me about this particular person, Lauren Smyth, and also Jimmy Bernard, also known as Jimmy B to some of you guys. Many of you know that with guests, as far as the podcast goes, it's always somebody that I most of the time I don't really know that well, but I just have like a genuine curiosity about them, just based on the things I've seen online and stuff like that. And so this was a little different in the sense that I did not know who Lauren was at all. But as a lifelong roller skater, and she's connected to Jimmy in a very special way, obviously. And so, of course, I was on board with it. I will tell you that it was extremely intimidating because as much as I don't want to script anything and I just try and have very genuine conversations, those conversations are the result of curiosity that I already have. And even though it's very limited, I have some type of insight into that person. And so the way that I went about this, it was different than any other way I've ever done any other podcast. And that was I actually connected with Lauren and Jimmy prior and spoke to them on the phone and got a very basic one. I wanted to make sure that, Lauren knew who I was and knew what the podcast was all about. And I wanted her to feel safe and comfortable, talking about super sensitive stuff. And I got very, just a very quick once over limited information. And so, I told them, I think I've got this. I know exactly where to go with this. And I know that this conversation will just unfold naturally. And the way it's supposed to, just based on, even my own curiosity and my own compassion that, all you have to do is talk to Lauren for a couple minutes and hear just 1% of her experience to obviously have a connection to it, like a personal feeling about it. And I will say that when we started the podcast, literally, you'll hear me at one point say, I think this is the way we should kind of go about this. And that is the moment that I decide how I'm going to run this entire thing. Talking with two people in a very difficult time in their life, talking to a woman about an experience that is devastating and difficult and also personal to a woman. And things that I'll never understand. And I really, really try to be sensitive to that. And my approach, anytime that's the case, is my goal is to connect with the human on the other end of this, on the other end of this conversation. And I really, really, really want to thank both Lauren and Jimmy for their unbelievable level of candor and being as forthcoming as they were, especially Lauren. I encourage all of you, stick around for the end of this episode. It will be joined by Big Daddy Ray, and he is going to give some insight into how you can help support Lauren and Jimmy with this fight against ovarian cancer, how you can get involved through the Philly Fall Skate Bash and everything that is going into that. So please, please, please share this, not for the podcast or even for the skate bash, but share it for someone like Lauren, and to even put more attention on something that, regardless of how much attention it gets, it's still not enough. I thank you for checking it out, and definitely check out Philly Fall Skate Bash Facebook page for a ton of information on how you can get involved in the event, but more importantly, how getting involved with the event can support Lauren in this 6-year battle that she continues to face and show up for every day with the kind of strength and courage that I could only hope to one day have. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy this. What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Skate Like You Podcast, SK8LIKEYOU.com. I am here with Lauren Smyth and Jimmy Bernard. How you guys doing?
Good, Mark. Thanks.
Good. Thanks for being on. You guys are, tell everybody where you're at right now.
We are at the Skateplex.
Philadelphia Skateplex, Northeast Philly.
All right. So, and you guys are skating tonight after this, or?
I'm going to give it my best shot tonight.
Okay. All right. So yeah, the Wednesday session at Philly. All right. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, throughout the course of this podcast. This is a special podcast. I think we're going to talk to Big Daddy Ray, afterwards as well. But, we kind of want to, we're going to talk about both of, I guess, your stories kind of individually, but we also want to talk about your together part of this story. You know what I mean? We're going to get into, something that's happening pretty special at the Philly Fall Skate Bash this year. But we can make this real simple, and both you guys, you can decide who wants to answer. Well, you know what? Lauren, I'm going to ask you first. There's one question that I ask every single person I have on the podcast. Do you remember did you remember the first time you ever put on skates?
I was an infant, so I don't remember it.
Pictures, I guess, huh?
My dad was a professional dance skater, and he had little skates made for me as an infant, and he would put them on me and skate around and do his twirls and everything, probably things that would not be allowed in today's world, but he would skate around and do all his fancy moves with me in his arms with these little skates on. So that was the first skates I ever had.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So beyond being an infant, with skates on, what is your first memory of skating, I guess?
Oh God. Probably maybe around 5, I can remember.
Okay.
And my dad was teaching me how to waltz.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to get into that stuff. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that stuff. What about you, Jimmy? Do you remember your first time skating?
Yeah, I do. My brother is older than me by about 5 years, and he used to go to the rink. I grew up skating at Holiday Skating Center, which is now called the Rink. And I used to go with my brother, and I couldn't skate, and he could at the time. So my first skates were rentals, and he used to skate around, and I used to hold on to his belt loop, and he used to pull me around. And that's kind of how I learned. That's how I learned how to skate.
Truth comes out.
All right. So for either of you, when would you say that you can kind of first remember skating kind of being like your thing, right? Like, I know there's a point in my life, I don't remember learning how to skate, kind of like both, like definitely like you, Lauren. My older brother skated, my older sister skated. I was the baby. It was kind of like learning to walk. Like I know I learned, I just don't remember when. I do remember though, like in first grade, I was just talking to Greg Fuller about this, it's like the first memory I have of sitting in class in first grade and being super excited about skating that night. Right. But for either of you, when do you think it was where, and for people, maybe it's different. Some people they more think about, oh, okay, this is about the time I knew I loved this. Or they think like, oh, this was about the time I knew that I was really good at this. Like I was better at this than I was at anything else. What would you say that was for you, Lauren?
Oh God. I mean, it probably wasn't that long after that, because it wasn't like I got taken to the rink and my dad just kind of pushed me off and said, go do your thing and skate. It was, come on, we're going to learn how to skate.
Right.
This is your posture. This is how you turn. This is how everything was graceful. And so I always had that kind of, that was my beginning point. So I never had the part of like where I had a rental skate and I just was skating and I was clumsy, and that wouldn't have flown.
Yeah. So you were, it was like,
he had expectations.
It was formal training right out of the gate, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So then even when I did get to the point where I would skate for fun, I was still in a skating dress, even on like a Friday, Saturday night that's full of teenagers or young teens. I was the only one wearing a stupid skating dress, but to me, that was just what you did. Like, that's the way you go to the skating rink, you wear a skating dress.
Huh. Wow. Okay. So what about you, Jimmy? When did you stop hanging on to your brother's? Yeah. When did you, Jimmy? When did you stop hanging on to your brother's belt loop and really start enjoying it?
I learned pretty quickly, actually. I can't say the time frame, but I started about 6, 7 years old. By the time I was 8, I think I had my first pair of skates. My parents bought me. I still remember and I was a boot skater my whole life, so that's what I grew up skating in. So I had Pacer boots and Pacer wheels, non-precision, by the way, straight ball bearings. And probably within a first year, I was skating on my own, and I actually got better than my brother, so much to the point that he probably stopped going when I was about 9 or 10, and I was going pretty much on my own.
Okay. So and the kind of interesting kind of part of a lot of time, I basically always just have a single guest, right? So I'm sure there's people kind of that are maybe listening or watching right now, and they're wondering, wait, why are two people describing their separate skate lives right now, right? But it does all tie together, and I think this is kind of maybe the best way to go about doing it, because you guys have an amazing, interesting story of skating together as kids and boyfriend, girlfriend, and then moving on in adult life and coming back together again. And we're going to get to all that stuff. But there's something that there's this thing that I'm seeing in my mind, right? Because to me, there's this West Side Story on skates with you guys. Cause it's like almost like Lauren, like you're like the Soch, right? Like, and Jimmy's like the greaser, like the formal skater, right? Like the classically trained, skater. And then you've got Jimmy, who just
fast and he was shuffling.
I was the rink rat.
Am I totally missing this, or is that a pretty accurate rendition?
No, that's it.
You're dead on. Absolutely. 100% dead on. Yes.
Okay. So when do you guys first meet? Who wants to tell me about that? How did that come about?
Well, we sort of have a slightly different version because, of course, I'm telling it from my perspective,
right, of
what it was like, and he's saying it from his. Obviously, it overlaps a little bit, but I can say when I went to the Holiday Skating Center, that was my dad's rink. That's where we went, and most of the kids our age, because we were like 12 when we first met, they weren't that great of skaters. They would just kind of skate. They didn't really shuffle. They didn't do any kind of formal skating. It was just kind of tooling around the rink, So I was actually skating decently, and I was pretty fast as well. And I noticed Jimmy because he was better skater than his friends, and he was hanging out with his buddies. So we would catch each other, kind of looking at each other from around the rink and stuff, because it caught my eye because he was kind of cute as well. So finally, because he was way too shy and immature to come up and talk to me, so I had to go up. I decided to go off the rink and come up behind him, and I kind of nudged him and said, "Do you think you can keep up?" And I shot out onto the floor. So, and of course, it took him at least 10 laps to catch up.
I could absolutely see why there are. Yeah, I can see why there are different versions of this story.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. He caught right up, and then we kind of, until my dad made me skate with him at that point, when couples came on, because everybody else would just hold hands and skate around. My dad wanted to go out and do our thing. So I would have to leave Jimmy. But then, it got to the point as time went on where I was like, Dad, you got to let me have some time to, skate couples with Jimmy. You didn't like that all that much.
Yeah. Well, it was challenge accepted when she asked if I could keep up. So, of course, I did. And, we used to chase each other around, so to speak. We would skate together. And then back then when we were going to the rink regularly, most of those sessions were organ sessions.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, we both knew the guy who played the organ, Sonny, who was very famous in our area, but we could get anything played at any time if we wanted to. So we could get things, on whenever we wanted to. And we would skate, out there during regular songs, but we would do a lot of shuffle couples together, which was
Okay.
kind of one of our favorite things. Which it allowed us to skate together, but it allowed us to do the shuffling at the same time. So it's a little different than your typical slow skate.
Yeah. So I got to ask Jimmy, for you, right? Like, cause I mean, I grew up in a rink. My first two loves were the product of being at a rink. Right. But I gotta say, man, it would have been weird, especially for like my second girlfriend at the rink. I was a little bit older. Right. Was it ever kind of a thing for you? Like, man, her dad's here all the time. Was it ever
Yeah, to some degree it was. But honestly, of course, you're going back to a time before social media, before cell phones, before any of this. So
Mhm.
we would go to the rink on any given Friday or Saturday night, not knowing if either one of us was going to be there.
Oh, wow.
So by the time we walk in, listen, she was easy to spot. She was wearing the skating dress, and there was no one else wearing it. So, and it was the same one pretty much all the time.
I had a favorite.
So when I saw that right away, I knew exactly how my night was going to go, and it was great. And to some degree, yeah, I would say it was a little strange with her father being there, but he and I have never really interacted. It was really once I saw her, that was it. That was all I knew. I mean, my friends were there, and I would hang out with them, but when I saw her, it was we were hanging out all night until it was time to go home.
So I'm going to jump ahead just a little, just real quick. There was a period of time where he was there, but then he had a stroke at one point, and he, lost some of his ability for function on his right side. So his skating, he could still do it, but he he did start getting to the point where he would just drop me off.
Okay. Okay.
So then we were alone.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, Lauren, real quick, for you too, like, were there times where you were just like, geez, Dad, I just want to go to the rink and skate with my friends, or like, did that happen?
Not really, because he knew everybody. Like, he was Mr. Popularity. So he would go do his things. And there were some ladies there that liked to skate with him as well. And, my parents were divorced. So I only saw my dad every third weekend of every month. So I didn't spend a lot of time with him all the time. So I didn't really mind him being there. No.
Okay. And here's the real question, right? Who was better? Who was a better skater of you two?
Now or then?
Then.
I would say we were pretty equally paired. I think Jimmy probably was a little faster, but I was a little bit more artistic.
Yeah.
She's more accomplished, no doubt. Her balance, her turns, her precision with that stuff. She was far and away better. And I would never even profess to even be good at it, because to this day I still can't do the turns that she does, the way she does them on one skate and whatnot. But I mean, as far as speed and stuff goes, we were pretty equal, and we could shuffle together great. And honestly, it was seamless.
Yeah, I had a lot more power back then.
Well, I can tell you. So sometimes I will go to, there's a place called Fantasy in Reading. I'm sure you probably have both heard of that place. And they have like a retro 80s night. And so but before that, they're doing like, dance lessons, right? Like, for skating. And it's so interesting. The rink I grew up in, there was nothing like that happening at all, right? But it's interesting. Sometimes I get there a little early just to watch. Like, I have no experience in doing anything like that at all, but I am always I know enough about skating. I've skated long enough to know, just watching them do these circles, right? On one foot and everything. That's probably, I swear, it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen anybody do, right? Especially when they do it with precision and make it look so easy. Because the thing that, like, if for those of you guys that skate but haven't gotten into this end of things, what you find out real quick, okay, is where your balance game really is. because balance is easy at a high rate of speed. It is the slow movement, and slow roll where balance, it like it's a true test of your balance. Is that, am I, would you agree with that, Lauren?
I do. I think the most, the thing that contributes to that the most, and I know now because I had it then and I don't now, was core strength. Having, your core strength, my posture was always perfect. Like I was always up, and turns and anything that I did was all about core strength, and the speed, as long as you got some strong legs, you can go,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because I've obviously tried to go out and do those circles. Right. But the thing about it is the challenge is moving at such a slow rate of speed and still being able to stay, online and just balanced and the whole nine. But anyway, basically I'm saying I could never do that. So kudos to anyone that can. But so now you guys are at some point though, Lauren, you start skating competitively. Am I right?
Only when I was younger, like back at that time,
Okay.
before that, actually.
Oh, before you and Jimmy met?
And maybe slightly into when we met, and then no, because then you start becoming a teenager, and there's just other things that are more important.
Yeah. So how long are you guys? Yeah. Boys,
and I worked. We dated off and on. I think that's was that going to be your next question?
Yeah, I was wondering how long did you guys skate together through this time? You know what I mean? And
I would say a skate. I don't remember, but
12 to 14, 15, I would say. Yeah.
The thing was, he lived in Jersey and I lived in Richboro, Pennsylvania. So, and neither one of us obviously were old enough to have a license yet. And we had to rely on either my mom or his brother was who we relied on to get us to point A to point B. Because if I wasn't visiting my dad, we didn't get to see each other.
Yeah. 100%. No, I had two relationships as a kid that exclusively only took place at the skating rink. Because that was the only time. Yeah. It was Sarah and then Marcia. And I didn't see either of them unless I went to the rink. Like that was it. We went to different schools, the whole nine. Right.
Exactly. I think we talked about it just the other day that I stayed at his house or came over outside of the rink in all those years, maybe twice.
Yeah.
And wasn't it weird? It was weird, right?
And I slept over his house in his room. He had bunk beds.
Yes. True story.
And he was being a good boy. He was up on the top bunk. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was a good boy, but she came over and she spent a weekend and she went to a high school dance of mine when we were 15.
Okay.
We have that picture.
We have a picture of that. Yeah.
I remember going to Sarah's house for the first time. It was only one time I ever went over there. It was during the summer, no school. Mom dropped me off or something on the way to work or something like that. And I remember being like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I don't know how to act when we're not at the rink, because we were together for a long time.
Yeah.
So, you guys now are you guys like boyfriend and girlfriend through high school? Like how does that whole thing unfold? How does that happen? Uh-oh.
So you see the head down. So I'll tell this part of the story.
Oh, he loves to tell this part of the story.
So I mean, at 15 was probably the last time we saw each other. She went to one of my dances, and then, high school, you're a teenager, you're doing other things. I was into sports. I was, doing a lot of other things. I actually stopped skating, and I couldn't even tell you why I stopped. Sports took over more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I guess a lot of my friends weren't going, and not that ever mattered to me because I used to go to the rink by myself. My parents would drop me off and I would just skate and they'd pick me up. But we were in high school, and about 15, that was it. It was kind of over. She decided she wanted to see other boys and do
I got that thing that girls get where they get like bad boy syndrome and they want the guys that kind of treat them crappy. So Jimmy was not that guy. And, you're going to school every day. We don't have a way to see each other on the regular if we choose to. And, you know, there's all these things going on at school, and you're just there every day with a whole bunch of people, and you just start getting involved with the people that are there.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
knowing what I know today, I wish I would have figured out a way to still, because I missed out.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
I did.
okay. So you guys, but do you still see each other at all? Like, are you friends? Are you like,
Not,
is it just
not
gone?
at that point. I would say after 15,
That was it.
it wasn't that we weren't friends. It just kind of
Right.
faded away, you know?
Just like every kid really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And, you know, with, again, no cell phones, no social media, no none of this. You know, if back then you're calling somebody's house and you're hoping to get them, and if not, you might get an answering machine and you might get a call back. And we just got to the point where she was involved in her school, I was involved in mine, and we kind of just went our separate ways.
So are both of you at that point when you guys go your separate ways? Are either of you skating still?
I was still skating.
Yeah, I kind of faded out. I guess about 15 or so. It wasn't for any reason other than, I guess, you know, high school life and sports took over, and I just was doing other things.
To be honest, I was teaching little girls how to skate here.
Okay. Oh, at the
Here
Palace.
at Palace. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Wow. This is all coming. This is just one big full circles, you know? Okay.
You're only about
so
halfway there.
yeah. Was there a time where you did stop skating?
Not really. Maybe I didn't go as frequently, but I skated all the time. And then when after I graduated high school, I moved to Florida, and one of the first things I did was find a rink.
Okay.
Down there.
What's the rink what would you consider home rink when you first moved to Florida?
Oh God. You know, I don't even remember what it was called because they tore it down. Now it's a furniture store. I can't remember what it was called.
Where were you in Florida?
Orlando.
Okay.
Then you went to Extra, right?
No, only once or twice I went there. But after I had my kids, I ended up going to Skate Reflections. That was our rink. We lived in Kissimmee.
Yeah, I like that place. Now I've only been there since Chris and Carrie took it over, and it became, I guess, Base Reflections is like what the people like to call
accurate.
it.
Yeah, you
Man.
can hear it like 7 miles away.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a blast in that place. I love that place. Both Chris and Carrie, amazing owners, you know, that I went to the Memorial Day event, the one, and oh, what a good time, man. Oh, just a blast. Okay. All right. So you guys at some point here, you not only do you like, you know, just beyond just like two kids that aren't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore, you guys just completely go have separate adult lives completely. Correct. Jimmy, you stayed up north the entire time, right? You've always been like the Jersey,
Like the
Philly
same
area.
town.
Yeah, literally, I live in the town next to where I grew up. So I from my childhood home, I live about 2.5 miles.
Okay. So but you just continue, like you just like any, you know, a lot of people, you got married, right? Had a family, the whole nine, like just.
Yeah, got married, had 2 kids, married for a long time. You know, raised 2 kids off on their own, doing their own thing, and now divorced. So, you know, much like a lot of people, especially when your kids get older, usually things go that way sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I had you know, basically what you would consider, I guess a lot of people say, hey, you know, you had a boy and a girl, which is great. You know, you have the American dream kind of family type of thing. And yeah, I went my own way and went to college and got a good job, did the whole deal. Yeah.
And
I did everything. I had a million jobs.
Yeah. So we kind of talked yesterday and then even like, you know, reading that story that your story that you had recommended to me or pointed me in the direction of, you down in Florida, everything from realty to what, like construction, interior decoration, like just the whole nine.
At
right?
one point I drove a semi. I was Cinderella at Disney World. I was always in sales. I did car sales. I did home sales. And a lot of them were all at the same time. So I was like a realtor and a mortgage broker, and I modeled, and I forget what else. Oh, I was teaching aerobics. Like those 4 jobs were all at the same time. So there was always different times where I was working multiple jobs because I was married as well, but I got divorced when my kids were young, and I was a single mom for a long time.
Okay. But was that like kind of hustle like mentality always a thing, or did it become one out of
Oh,
necessity as an
yes.
adult? It was always
No, I started like a selling greeting cards business when I was like 5 in my neighborhood so that I could
Nope.
make extra money. So yeah, no, I have always been a go driven, you know,
Yeah.
don't,
Nope.
I wasn't very good at relaxing. I needed to work.
No,
What were you going to say?
it's all accurate.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He looked like he was like trying to squeeze something in there. I'm like, what?
Nope.
Did I say something wrong?
Nope. 100% accurate.
So what do you say, Jimmy? Are there points where you just want to be like, hey, would you just chill out for a second? Is there?
No, he's
I am the same way, but she's got me beat. I sometimes look for an off switch because there isn't one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
get it. I totally get it. Especially, I don't know about, well, here's the thing with me. I am considered, okay, this is what I've come up with for myself. I consider myself excessive, but undisciplined. Meaning if it's something that I get, if I'm passionate about it, or if I really get like, if I really enjoy it, you will not be able to, you can't stop me. Okay. But if it is something that I just like despise, you will have to drag me kicking and screaming. Right. So if I love it, I will ride it until it cannot be ridden anymore. I will wear it out. But man, if it's not something that I'm even somewhat into, good luck. Good luck. I'm full ADD mode in that moment. But I don't know about you guys, but that's me.
When you like something, you're all in.
Oh
I
yeah.
I think for me it was that my expectations for myself are ridiculously high, and I can't fail at anything. Like I if I'm given a task, it's going to get done. It's going to get done as close to perfect as possible. And whether I have to walk through fire to make it happen, then that's what's going to happen.
Hey,
Like I
Lauren,
just,
let me. Oh no, I was gonna say that I don't want to play dime store therapist, but could this possibly be something to do with the fact that you're on skates as an infant with a dad that was a champion skater?
I
And
think that's just the hand I was dealt when, I was made.
yeah, yeah.
I just, that's the way I think. I've tried to instill that in my kids, which they're very different people than I am. But I just feel like, if you're going to do something, you've got to give it your 150%. It's got to be perfect, as close to perfect as possible. And you don't ever say, I can't. And there's no, I give up. Like, it's just not in my DNA, I guess.
I guess I mean I could be considered perfectionist if you consider perfectionism being like if it's not perfect then screw it, I'm done. Kind of thing.
There's that too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay. Now, Lauren, there's so you guys, we're talking about 2 entire lives here, right? And we only have an hour and a half or so,
Sure.
but so I want to kind of get to this thing, and I also want to get to the point where you guys kind of come back together. But you guys are both living your lives, right? You have families, you're working, you're different. Lauren, you're down in Florida, and Jimmy's still back here. But at some point for you, Lauren, even beyond like divorce, there's something that occurs in your life that is just life altering. Can you tell us like what that was, when that first came about?
Sure. I had just had my 50th birthday. For about the previous 2 years, I was working anywhere from 15 to 18-hour days, doing construction and flipping houses and designing the remodel and then decorating it and selling it. That was kind of my deal. And I was working a lot and I was doing a lot of the work. So it wasn't like I was just in charge. I was, but I was also doing a lot of the actual construction part of it, you know. But I was having a lot of pain in my back. And I thought it was just from like, you know, I used to run up a set of stairs with 2 5-gallon buckets of paint like I was carrying, you know, a donut. It was nothing. And I just started to get to where I was having so much pain in my back. And I saw all these different kinds of doctors, pain management and something for my bones. And I was going to the chiropractor 3 times a week and all these different things. And nobody really was diagnosing the right thing. So when you turn 50, you're supposed to go get a colonoscopy. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. I was having some issues with my stomach not really functioning properly. Things were getting backed up. And I was just like, something is just not right. And so I finally went to go get the colonoscopy and they couldn't get it to work. Like they couldn't get it in, to be blunt. And they said that there's just all this inflammation in there. So we're going to try to schedule you for a CAT scan. So I said, okay. So I left. And of course, you can't eat the day before colonoscopy. So I was hungry. So my son and I went across the street to eat. And within 15 minutes of being there, I just had the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. And I had natural childbirth 3 times before that. So it made childbirth seem like a breeze. And I was worried because I thought maybe when they were trying to get the colonoscopy scope in, that they poked a hole through my intestines or something, because it was just a pain I had never felt before. So they rushed me to the hospital and immediately did a CAT scan. So I was in so much pain that they gave me all this morphine and I'm kind of like all happy. And the doctor comes in, who looked like he had just graduated high school like 3 days before. And he's like, well, I just need to let you know, you are very constipated. There's a lot of inflammation in there. But the good news is they didn't poke a hole through your bowel or anything like that. So really, you just need to follow up with your doctor and we'll try to get things moving in there. But, you know, other than the cancer, you're fine.
Oh,
So my son and I look at each other because I was crazy healthy. Don't smoke, don't drink, never did drugs, taught aerobics. I ate well, no fast food. I would have been the last person that somebody would have thought would have gotten a disease, you know? And I said, I don't have cancer. And he said, yes, you do. And
yeah, because he said that he said it that way.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it's almost like it sounds like he thought you knew you did.
He thought I was there because I was having an issue because I had cancer.
Okay.
I was just there because I was in pain and didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
So within 1 week, I had gone to my gynecologist. Actually, I left the hospital the next day and went to my gynecologist. He called a friend that was an oncologist, a gynecological oncologist. And within a week, I had this port put in. That's where they put the plug in the chemo. And I had chemo within 2 weeks, and I was bald within a month, and found out I had stage 3C, which is just before stage 4, which is like the last stage, cancer. And that was 6 years ago. So I've been on chemo for 6 years.
Okay. All right. Now,
and I still currently am.
In this past 6 years since the diagnosis, have there been times of remission for you, or?
I had one kind of lengthy period of time, and that was probably 13 months. It wasn't that I was completely cancer-free, but I had no evidence of disease is what they call it. So it's like, they call it NED. So my numbers were low. I was on a maintenance pill for some of that time. But I felt like I felt better without it. So I went the rest of the time without it. And your numbers, you're trying to keep your numbers under 25. And I was at 8. So I kind of came up with this little slogan: 8 is great, 9 is fine, but 8 is great, because it did go up to 9 once. but then out of nowhere, it went from like 9 to 100 to 500 to 4,000. And then it was basically time to start over, lose my hair again, the whole deal.
So I've got to ask, because there is, and I remember talking to Michelle Gar. I think I sent you guys a clip of that episode that I done with Michelle, because Michelle was very much similar personality type in the sense where high achieving, right? Just never say quit attitude, the whole nine, right? Just go, 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 go. And the thing is that, so for someone like yourself, Lauren, right? You have that mentality. There's a certain amount of your own value that you even kind of probably is tied up in that, and but now there's this thing that happens, not only not only cancer, but now a treatment that literally is just debilitating, right? I mean, because you're just all the time go. So on top of just this horrible thing that's happening in your life, I've got to wonder if there's an other aspect of the emotional toll it takes, because it's almost like robbing you of like this high energy, productive person.
Yes.
Am I way off, or?
You are spot on. I have times still where I'm very angry at cancer. Cancer for me has a face. It's Venom from Spider-Man. The Venom guy. That's in my mind, that's who I'm fighting. And like I said, I'm not very good at losing or failing. So I look at it like it's me against him or him against me. And I don't plan on losing. So I think that you were talking, two things. You were talking about how it changes your whole world. It literally, for me, was like one day I'm going 100 miles an hour with all these things and busy at work. And then the next day, I'm done. I'm just done. I wasn't able to work. I haven't since then. I spend at least usually about 3 days a week, either at the chemo suites. Even if I'm not getting chemo, I have to get hydration because it dehydrates you. I have other issues. I got to go to the doctor. I get blood work. I get labs weekly. So my world just revolves around this.
Yeah. And
I miss the activity. I miss being busy. I miss being an achiever and successful and doing things like that, doing for other people. Now I have people doing for me, which I'm not good at that either. I would rather be the giver. But I have to look at it like the only choice I can do is just to make the best of it, and try to get it gone.
So, I really am not trying to be super Freudian about this, but there's something that jumped out at me when you said the face of cancer is Venom, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which also, there's an aspect to that where that Venom is like, it's also Spider-Man, right? It's this version of Spider-Man that we don't want to see and look at,
I guess. I just look at it like when I first got diagnosed and started chemo, I could feel the chemo ripping the cancer tumors like loose, tearing at the edges, because the whole reason that they give you chemo first before they take everything out, because it's ovarian cancer, they're taking everything, full hysterectomy, is they're trying to shrink the edges down to where they're very defined of whatever cancer you've got, wherever it is. They're trying to make it to where the edges are nice and defined so they can go in there and get it out. Now, granted, one cancer cell left behind can turn into a whole nother situation. And that's what happens, especially with ovarian cancer. So the Venom part of it for me was it felt like when you find out you have this disease, first of all, you feel like dirty, violated. You feel like there's something in you that you just wanted out. Like that's all I could think of when I first found out was just get it out. I don't care if you have to get a shovel, just get it out today. And she's like, it doesn't work that way, Lauren. You you've got to get some chemo, shrink the edges, then I'll go in, I'll get everything I possibly can, and then we'll do more chemo. And that's the way it went down. But that feeling that I would get of it just kind of going like, that's kind of where the venom analogy came from.
Yeah.
Is when you see that black stuff going on in Spider-Man, that's what it felt like in my body.
Yeah. Was there a point for you too where, like, because of course, I mean, I still can't get over the way that you found out, right? Like, oh my God. Because at first when you said it, I'm like, wow, this is like the worst bedside manner ever. But then it makes sense that this doctor just, through whatever confusion, he thought you were aware of this and were there for it. But is there a point where for you where, like, you find this out? Of course it's devastating. And I'm not even going to try and wrap my head around even for a second thinking I could possibly fathom what that is like. But was there a time, and maybe these times happen again, maybe it's something that happens repetitively or it happens more than once over time, but was there a time where, you know, you go from like this kind of defeated, oh my God, I can't believe this, to being like, okay, yes, this is awful, but I'm going to fucking beat this?
I don't think I ever felt defeated.
Okay, good.
I think I had denial at first because
All
I
right.
just couldn't believe it. I was like, what? No. They must have given me somebody else's CAT scan or something. Like that was kind of it. And then after that, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get her done.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was like, there were times when I was in so much pain. I would have like outer body experiences and I would just feel like, get out. You find yourself like talking to it, like, get out of my body. You're not welcome. You don't belong in here. And I mean, you're kind of like losing your mind because you're in so much pain. And I'm not I don't, of course, doctors, they want to give you a pill for this, and then that pill causes side effects. So then they give you a few more pills for the side effects of that pill. And next thing you know, you've got a whole tray full of, I don't want any of it. So unless it's really, really absolutely necessary, I don't take anything. Just chemo.
And so you're divorced at this point. So like,
I got divorced when my kids were like 8.
Yeah. So your kids are older at this point when this comes down. Okay.
Yes.
So is that like the main source of family that is with you and kind of supporting
my
you?
My mom is down there as well. I had my stepdad up until, gosh, I don't even remember. It was, I think it was the year I found out, or maybe it was the following year he died. But he was there. And then I have my sister is down there as well. But my kids are kind of like my main thing, my kids and my mom.
Yeah. Okay. So Jimmy, I gotta ask you, so, you know, just like Lauren, obviously you guys, your lives take very different paths, but you know, you guys, I mean, at this point in your life, you're strangers, you know what I mean? Adult life. It's just like, it's just so far removed. Right.
Yeah.
But at some point, was this a couple years ago, or how recent was it that you like kind of started thinking about reaching out?
2021. I'm not a social media person for everything. I was never a Facebook guy, but a guy I work with, he is, and we're sitting in the office one day, and I said to him, "Hey, just out of curiosity," I said, "Can you look somebody up for me?" And I gave him Lauren's name. I said, "Hey, just see if you can find her." And he, sure enough, he pulls her up, and I had no idea. I mean, I knew where she lived before. I knew she was in Richboro, but I had no idea where she was now. And he says, "This girl's in Florida." He says, he turns the phone. He says, "Is this her?" I said, "Oh, that's her." So immediately I found her. But with Facebook, I guess if you're not friends with somebody, you can only see certain photos and certain things. So we were able to scroll through a little bit. I did see some photos. There was one of her with a guy. I had no idea who it was, but strangely enough, she was selling puppies, and actually had her phone number in the post, which to me was almost prophetic. So I did take the number, and I sat on it for probably a month or so, hemmed and hawed whether or not I was going to even reach out because I had no idea what her situation was. The last thing I want to do is disrupt anybody's life or have an issue, and I had no idea what I'm stepping into. But I happened to be going down to Orlando that April. So it was probably March of that year. I guess I reached out.
Can I ask real quick, Jimmy, what is going through your mind in that moment when you're like, hey, can you look this lady up for me, this woman up? Like what motivates you? What causes this curiosity?
Right. So we'll go back to the 12 to 15-year-old stage, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. When her and I met, I totally outkicked my coverage, and I know it. I was a very young 12-year-old, as much as young 12-year-olds can be, I guess, to the point where, when I would go in and she would be at the rink with me, I felt like I was 7 feet tall because to me, she was the prettiest girl in the rink. And here I was skating around with the only girl with a skating dress on. And here I am cruising around the rink with this girl. So the impact was there from that time on. And I think, listen, Mark, you said you had a couple of skate relationships, and I'm sure the first girl you ever fell for, kind of, you still remember that feeling, kind of a thing, right? So she was it for me. So that kind of thing never left. And I go through photo albums of like high school years and even grade school years, and there's a section that has, I would call it the Lauren section, so to speak. It's all the photos of her and I when we were of that age. So in essence, now I'm divorced. I'm thinking, okay, well, you know what? I'll go back to what I knew when I was 12 to 15, right? What the heck? We'll start throwing darts. So I had her number. I reached out. I sat on it for a month. I reached out in, I think, March of 21 at some point, and was very cryptic about it. I used my work cell phone number, which was a Pennsylvania number, so I didn't tip her off to the Jersey thing. And I kind of just laid it out there, with somebody from her past, and she immediately asked if it was from the rink, and I said yes, and she came back with, well,
if it has anything to do with skating, it's got to be Jimmy Bernard. And he was like, he didn't answer right away. And I was like, it's got to be Jimmy Bernard. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know who to think of.
And then I got a question mark. And
they wrote bingo.
Yeah. And then I told her that. And so we communicated via text message for probably, I guess, almost a month before I knew I was going to be in Florida for work. And so we arranged to have dinner. First time we had seen each other since we were 15. So, we were what, 51, 52 at that time? 52. Yeah. So we met for dinner. And honestly,
when I got out of my truck and he got out of whatever he was driving, a rental, I felt like it was the same person that I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean,
he still has this baby face.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, yes, time had passed, but some things were not missed. And, we had a nice dinner. We had a nice conversation. We left it at that. Stayed in touch throughout my few days there. The day I was leaving, we had lunch. We agreed to stay in touch. I kept checking on her. And at that point,
I think my cancer that was when I was in that NED stage. And it had come back. That's when it shot through the roof. So that kind of became a lot of our conversation because I was real sick at that point.
So we had gone from phone calls to FaceTime, and from April through, we stayed in touch. And then in November of that year, she invited me down.
I was doing a little better at that point.
So she invited me down for a visit. The rest is history.
So I got to ask two questions. Okay. First off, Jimmy mentions about, Jimmy, you're talking about over the years, like this thing never kind of left you, right? There was this first love thing that was still kind of there. And I guess at times in your life, she would pop into your mind and all that kind of stuff. Did that happen for you too throughout your life, Lauren, or?
He doesn't believe me, but yes. When Facebook first came out, he was one of the first people I looked up.
Okay.
And he wasn't on Facebook, so I didn't really know how to find him. I
Yeah.
am not on any other social media except that.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
still to this day, that's the only one
yeah.
I'm on is Facebook, and I don't even post on there. I just once in a while I'll check my kids or whatever.
So I'm going to ask the question that one, it's not easy for me to ask, and two, but I know it's the question that a lot of people, if they're listening, they're thinking right now, and that is, so obviously through this new era of communication and like meeting again, Lauren, you said at that point is when things started to regress as far as the cancer goes, I guess, or.
Yeah.
But this has got to come up at some point, right? How soon is that discussed? What was?
I think I told him I had cancer when we first started talking.
Okay.
Like even when we were just texting in the very beginning.
Yes.
All right.
Because that was like, it was still a big part of my life at that point. So
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I have cancer and right now I'm kind of cancer free. I don't really remember what all our conversations were, but it really wasn't a conversation until it became a problem again.
Right. And so I have to wonder, and this might be, you guys both have different experiences with this. So Lauren, I have to wonder, was there a point for you where you're saying to yourself, especially as you guys are starting to get more serious, is there a point where you're saying, do I want to bring him into my life knowing this? Is there?
I sure did.
Yeah.
I definitely thought, like, you do know what you're signing up for here, right?
Right.
Like, I am going to fight my buns off, but, ovarian cancer doesn't have the greatest prognosis.
Right.
You're supposed to have I think they say 80% of people that get diagnosed at stage 3, especially 3C, don't make it past 5 years. So, okay, well, what about the other 10% or whatever the percentage was? I think it was like 3%. And so it was like 97% don't make it past 5 years. Well, granted, it could be an old statistic. It could be, you never know, like everybody's different, but I guess in the medical world, they have this 5-year thing that they do. And I just was like, well, I don't follow the crowd ever. So I'm going to do my own thing and I'm not going to be in that group.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure even as a kid, I still had that same personality. I don't really think I had to convince Jimmy that I was going to fight with everything I had. I get very angry still to this day because I feel like he deserves the best of me, and the best of me was before I had cancer. I can't give my 100% in all kinds of ways, and it bothers me, because I feel like the jerks that I had in my life during my adult life, they got a better version of me because I was healthy. And it's not fair. Like, he deserves that better part of me.
And I definitely understand why you would feel that way. At the same time, though, isn't there a part of this that makes you love that much harder? You know what I mean? Commit that much harder to somebody. You know what I mean? Like when you say, this isn't the best part of me or the best version of me, I got to think that there are these other things though, that as you're facing what you're facing, grab this life that is here with me. I bet there's parts of you that this is the absolute best version of you. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, she has this discussion probably more than I would like with me, because I feel like she is apologizing a lot for the condition that she's in, and
I've been sicker lately.
Yeah.
In the hospital a couple times, so I was pretty sick. So that's probably why it came up.
I mean, it is, but as I tell her even tonight before we came here, and I said, you don't ever need to apologize for how you're feeling. You didn't ask for this. This is a hand you were dealt. And I tell everybody this I firmly believe this. There is one reason that she is still here today, and it is because as tough as she is, because she refuses to quit. And mindset is a lot when it comes to this type of a battle. And if you give up mentally, you're losing the battle generally. And she is not that one. So I constantly tell her it's not her fault. She doesn't need to apologize. And anything that was her situation when we did get back together really was never a factor for me, because whether I believed she was going to beat this or whether I believed she would never quit, all of those things are true, but it wasn't ever a consideration where I ever would have said to myself, is this really what I want to get into? That never crossed my mind.
Yeah. And please, Laura, I hope I didn't mean to say that the wrong way. I hope you understood what I meant by the fact that, like, you know, sometimes when we're faced with these things, it's just, it's like, I don't know. It puts a lot of things in perspective, including the love that we have for our family and the people closest to us and all that kind of stuff. So I really hope it didn't come across the wrong way when, when I said that.
I mean, it would take it takes a lot to really offend me.
Okay.
I didn't even think of it. So no, not at all.
So, and Jimmy, you already said it, but I think that it's a very, it's funny about this is that I talk to people that go through these types of things, and I would never even compare for one iota of anything that I've ever been through. But like, I had a very got a summer stay in a hospital where I was like, I was a 50-50, but I got better and I'm good forever. Like they took care of me. Right. But there are these things, man, where I would understand, like, I bet people, I guess where I'm going with this is you hear people say, man, I don't know if I could ever deal with this, or I don't know what I would do if this happened to me. Right. And I've talked to enough people in these situations where I'd say, man, how do you do it? How do you do it? And the number one answer I get from people, especially dealing with things like this, is you just do, you know what I mean? You just do it. And so I look at this though, and I bet there are people wondering, Jimmy, right? Like it was, and it's understandable, right? Like it's a hard thing to say, but it's understandable for somebody to maybe look at this situation and be like, man, like, was there ever a moment where you were just like, geez, I don't know if I could take this. You know what I mean? I don't know if it doesn't sound like that at all though for you.
No. And I mean, if I tried to tell you that there weren't stressful times, if I tried to tell you that there weren't times that were emotionally difficult for me or scary, I'd be lying. There are times I'll never let her see it. And if she does see it, I didn't do a good enough job hiding it. But
I don't hide anything.
There's just it takes a mental toll on you. And I feel like I've always been somebody that can handle a lot mentally, even through raising my kids and the things that we had going on family-wise and stuff. It was always like I would be the one to lean on it. And I could eat that stuff up like candy. It was no problem. The harder part for me is to see what she goes through and to see what she deals with. And she constantly amazes me at her resiliency, because I don't know anybody that can recover from some of this stuff like she does. And I can't say I've got a history of knowing people that have gone through all this, but I do know some. And I know that they have not been as easy to bounce back as she is at times. I mean, we do our best. We're FaceTiming every single day. Multiple times a day generally, and then I try to get down there at least once a month, or her up here, or me down there generally, just because her health schedule is just, everything's built around doctor's appointments and treatment
work. And
I've literally landed on a plane, gotten to her house, and we've gotten in the car and driven straight to the chemo suite, and I'll sit there with her for 2.5 hours, and then we'll go about our day. And then the rest of the weekend is recovery for her, and she apologizes for how she's feeling, and I just tell her, you didn't ask for this, and you know what, we're sitting together, whether we're watching TV or whether we're just taking a nap, whatever it may be, but we're still together, so that's really what matters.
Yeah. And I think as guys too, like we're notorious for trying to be fixers. You know what I mean? Like,
And she's a fixer too. So yeah, I get
yeah,
it. You're right.
but it's this powerless thing that we have to just, we just have to be there. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like my only role is to just be here at this moment. You know what I mean? I think women are trying to communicate that to us, like since the dawn of time. You know what I mean?
She doesn't keep it a secret. Let me tell you, there is no secret when it comes to this stuff, and she will straight up tell me. And if I'm not being enough of that, she'll remind me.
I'm very mushy. I'm very ooey gooey mushy, and if he has like just an off day, I'm like, okay, I am deprived in the mush department today, so you need to fix it. You need to step up over there.
True story.
You don't love me today.
True story.
And although there's a challenge to the distance, right? There's also, look, and this might seem weird. I try and look at everything through a different perspective, right? And I try and see things like, I know that there's a general way of looking at things, and I try and shift it, right? And I look at someone like in Jimmy's spot, and I say, man, if there was ever a moment that if I wondered, like, is this something that like
you can handle?
Yeah, the fact is that the guy he lives in a different state. If he wanted to escape, he could. It wouldn't be that difficult. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
But yeah, he is there. And it sounds like there was a time where you guys kind of balanced this travel thing, but it sounds more like probably, Jimmy, you're probably headed south more. Is that right now?
Yeah. Lately, that's been the case. We're fortunate enough to get her up here just for this short period of time because she's running at the end of her non-treatment schedule where she'll have it next week. So we had a small window. I mean, there's a lot of logistics that we have to work out between her medical schedule, my work schedule, because I still work full time. And I have, a house, I get 2 dogs, we got things to worry about. I got to worry about who's taking care of them. When she travels up here,
I have 2 dogs.
She's got 2 dogs. So there's some logistical things we do have to hammer out. And, everybody says, well, in a perfect world, why don't you just move there? Or why doesn't she move here? Well, listen, her life depends on where she lives and her doctor. I would never be so demanding to say, you've got to move here. This is her life. That's why she is where she is. And the reason she's still here is because of the doctor that she has. We have wonderful hospitals up here, but they're not going to be the hospital and the doctor that she has. So she has to stay where she is for now. And I can't retire just yet. So we're going to make this work. And we've pretty much committed to that. And that's kind of how it is.
If you love somebody
you hear about
enough, especially after you've been through some of the hellacious relationships I've been through, obviously his marriage turned sour at some point in time. So I feel like, you're just gonna, whatever, at least the way I feel, maybe I'm speaking for you, is like whatever you have to go through to make it work. If you love somebody that much, there is no other option.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's easier if I'm dating a guy that lives 3 doors down? If I love Jimmy, I don't want anybody else,
And there's also an aspect of like everyone says, about knowing what you want. But when we have enough life experience, enough relationship experience, we also know what we don't want. Right.
Yes.
So not only do I know what I want, I know what I don't want. And man, could we ever have a better kind of recipe for finding what we're looking for? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I mean, Mark, you literally just said it. I mean, we have this conversation often. And my main thing when I got back into the dating world, so to speak, is that I wanted easy. If it was too much like work, it's not for me. And I know that seems like, everybody says that. That's not easy to find. Well, when you do find it, you better make it work.
And we don't mean like easy, like the whole scenario is easy, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like where you just don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to feel a certain way. You don't have to act a certain way. You don't have to watch what you say. At least I don't watch what I say. I don't know that. I mean, it's just that sometimes there's like, you feel like it's home. Like you're not just dating someone, you're with your person. It's like, that's your person. And I said to him recently, we were kind of joking around. I was like, I wish I would have been smart enough and not had that bad boy syndrome thing where we could have just stayed together from the very beginning, and I would have missed all the hell I went through. But that's in a dream world, and that's a fantasy land. But in reality, I said, I do appreciate the fact that maybe a lot of the hell that we both went through separately makes us appreciate each other that much more. And it's like, it's not even a question.
Yeah. Would we be who we are, right? Without whatever life experience we had, and I can't think of a better scenario. I think it's a real gift when we get to really kind of know who we are individually and know how to do it, be happy with it, and then also know that there is somebody else that accepts what I am completely, and I never have to wonder, right? Like I can't think of a more secure, especially for somebody like me who has constantly been a victim of, worrying what people think and feeling different all the time, and nobody understands, nobody gets it. If you knew the real me, if you knew what was going on up here, you'd run. And the fact that like I get to sit or be with somebody that has read all my mail, right? Knows me completely, and I don't even have to question whether they love that version of me completely. I have to think that is an amazing gift for both of you, especially
it's a great feeling.
Absolutely.
Yep, it's a great feeling, and she said it's true. There are times, and it's scary. The thought will come out of my mouth before she gets it out, and we will finish each other's sentences at times, and it's unbelievable how that whole cohesiveness thing works. But yeah, and
I will say as much as I feel for the situation, right? This really difficult. I mean, difficult's not even close to the word, right? But just this, this devastation that happens in your lives. I'm also really happy for you to be able to have this amidst that. You know what I mean? It must be such a source of strength through it.
100%. I would forge forward either way, but it's so much better when there's a reason. Like we talk about, like, when I'm better, when I'm cancer free. It's not like, well, gosh, I sure hope I get there.
Yeah.
If I ever get there, of course, in my mind, I know that there's a chance that I'll be dealing with this forever. It might come, it might go, but I still am driven, and to know that the light at the end of that tunnel has his face on it. I like that.
So, and amidst all this, there's one of the things that's happening with the skate bash is, and we'll talk to Ray shortly here. But what are some of the things that I mean, it's just got to have major financial implications on your life.
Oh God, yeah. I went from making a good living and having income to making zero. I just have a little bit of disability check, and that's it. So thank God I saved throughout my life, because I worked hard. But when it's not getting replenished, it goes down a lot quicker than you think, especially with the economy the way it is.
Oh my God! And
things are a lot more expensive now, and yeah.
So and so one of the things that's happening, Ray, can you actually jump in here and kind of tell everybody? Why don't you squeeze in between these two? I don't know. I don't want to lose anybody in frame, though. And guys, we will come back if there's anything else that you guys want to throw out there and say. Sure.
I'm getting too old.
Are we all in there? I can't see.
Yeah, we
rolling.
Yeah, I see us.
yeah.
Your bad
Yep.
eyes.
Yes, my eyes are bad.
This is why I wanted to do the widescreen, Ray. Right here. Okay.
I like it.
So, but every year, Ray, or it seems like an event, we try and find a cause or somebody to help, you know what I mean? And man, I can't think of one that has kind of, this is just, I'm sorry. Guys, I'm never at a loss for words, and I'm at a loss for words. So, Ray, why don't you talk about how this kind of came about and what is exactly happening? How can people help?
Sure. I mean, I put it out there. I always ask everybody in the crew, do you know of anybody that could use some help? Because to me, at the event, I thrive on trying to help someone out that is going through some tough times, and anything that we can do to help, I feel is a plus. Like, to me, that's what makes the event special in its own way. There for a while, I was like, well, we could always just do it for cancer because we didn't have anybody. And so Jimmy went and messaged me and said something, hey, I know somebody.
Yeah.
A little.
A little. So, he gave me a little story, and I'm like, oh my God, yes. This is who we need this event to help and support and go forward with.
And so, how is that going to happen? Like, what is the vehicle to make to do this? I guess is the question.
Sure. Yep. So I went out to all the sponsors and I said, hey, this is the person, this is what's going on. I shared her story. I had her write up the story on like this whole thing, which is posted up on Facebook. And it's a story like no other, and I was just sat there. I didn't even know how to take it. Like, I was just like, the tears started rolling down my eye as I read this, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is somebody we definitely need. So I went to all the sponsors, and they always say, okay, why are we doing this? Who's this for? And they all kind of said yes. We will definitely support. So usually what happens is they will donate something towards the raffle that we'll have on Saturday night. We'll probably do a raffle Friday and Saturday, and then we'll do a 50-50, for Lauren, to get it out there. And I'm excited for it. I think this is going to be a big help. And, that's, to me, this is what it's about, being able to help somebody out that's in need. That's always been my philosophy. If I can help somebody, I will always help somebody.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Awesome. Man, like I said, I've never had a loss for words, and here I am. It's crazy. Ask Ray. I've never run out of shit to say.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be an awesome event. I think we're all going to have a lot of fun. As I said, this event is for an awesome cause, and I can't wait for it. We got a lot of good sponsors. I have a whole list of sponsors out there. We have Font Skates. We got Chance Pizza. We got Eastern Skate Supply. Like, just so many custom skate cushions with Ron Murray, Beagle Berries. SK8LIKEYOU.com is always a big supporter, and I appreciate that from you, Mark.
Me too.
You're awesome. And also we have also the Shuffle Kings, OG Skate Crew, and Daniel Carlson, who I finally got a hold of. Divine LEDs.
Yeah.
Well, also, unfortunately, he didn't make the the banner or the sponsor thing, but he messaged me today and said, yes, please include me into this. So I'm
Bring some
excited.
paint. We'll paint him on there.
Yeah, we'll white them in or whatever, So, but yeah, I'm really excited. We got the t-shirt sales going down. They're rolling in, so excited for that. If anybody's interested, up till October 29th, we're gonna have the t-shirt sale going on. And then also on Sunday, November 9th, there's a special day for for me and Erica. We're getting married and we're opening up the session to anybody that wants to come at 8 o'clock down at Skate 47 to be able to come skate with us after we're married. We're limited on how many people that we could have at the wedding, but we decided that we're going to stay afterwards. If anybody wants to join us as husband and wife, we're kind of excited for that to go on too. But we have some awesome DJs for the event, as DJ TFT, AJ Funk, who's actually playing right now behind us. That combination, I am so excited to hear how that goes down. And then we got a new DJ coming in Saturday night that I've never had, a DJ Eric B. So I'm excited to mix him up with DJ Phil. So I'm just overly excited for this event. But most of all, for Lauren to help her out, that to me makes it right here. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. This is another level for a cause. You know what I mean? It just feels like that to me. You know what I mean? But okay.
That's why I came to you, and I was just like, oh my God, like we need to get her story out there and let people hear it and feel it, and like you and I both feel this, and it's like, oh my God, my heart, literally.
Yeah. Well, I had said to Lauren and Jimmy yesterday when we talked briefly on the phone, I said, don't worry, I will promote the shit out of this episode. You know what I mean?
Right? So. Yeah, like her story, their story together. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just feel so glad to be a part of it and be able to help and share, with everyone.
Yeah, well, we're equally as thankful for you, Mark, and for Ray and the whole skate community in general, just really accepting this as a cause and helping her out, because, we do what we can to try to help her out and keep her afloat, but she's going through a real rough time right now. Things we didn't even touch on, and we don't even need to. The story is the story, and I'm biased, of course, but she's more than deserving of this cause for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%. Is there anything else that you guys did want to put out there that you did want to say, you did want to address before we wrap this up? I want to make sure that you have all the time, the microphones or whatever are completely yours.
I think there's two things I would like to circle, at least in with our story. One of them being is how we actually got back into skating, even though we got back together. It was a chance trip that she came to New Jersey in November of 22. And on a whim, I just said, I'm going to take her to Holiday, and I'm just going to sit out front. We're going to get a picture in front of the marquee, which is now different. It's called the Rink. And there was a car.
Of course, all the feelings are coming back from, I hadn't seen it or been there in so long.
So I decided, well, let's go take a shot. We're going to go get a picture. And we're sitting in my truck, and she sees a car in the parking lot, and she says, well, I'm going to go in. And I said, you're just going to walk in? She says, I sure am. So I said, all right, I'll be in the truck waiting for you. She's gone 10, 15 minutes, and I'm starting to wonder if she's robbing the place or if she's, made a new friend, or if I'm going to walk in the door and she'll be skating.
There was nobody in there. I mean, it was like just an empty rink.
Yeah.
And then finally, out of nowhere, in walks Donna.
So she waves me in, Lauren does, and we go in and we meet Donna, who was in there just finished teaching a lesson. And we start talking to her. We tell her our story a little bit. And she tells us that the very next night, which they have once a month,
Was a shuffle night.
Oregon Shuffle Night, which is what we grew up skating to. So for the very first time since I was probably 15, and probably the first time since I was 7 years old, I had Reynolds on my feet the very next night.
That was the only time I ever wore Reynolds, that night.
And we skated that night. By the next week, the next month's session, I had gotten a pair of skates and I started skating there, and she made another trip up and she skated with me. And little by little, I connected with a couple guys there who grew up in the rink as well, but we had never crossed paths, Randy and Lacey. And little by little, they bring me here. I get to meet Ray.
And I'm like, oh, I used to teach little girls how to skate here.
Here, and from meeting Ray and then getting introduced to the whole skate community, I started going to events out of state, out of town. Lauren's been with me a few times to the rink. She's been here. She's been to Fantasy in Reading. We go there first and third Sundays there, and just this thing took off, man. So for 3 years now, we've both been back on skates, and this guy's got a ton to do with it because he's just opened up so many doors for me to meet so many different people, welcomed me into the OG skate crew, which was a huge thing for me. And I've met just some amazing people, some absolutely amazing people. The people we skate with here, the people we skate with at Fantasy. If you'd have told me even 4 years ago that I'd be back doing this and that I would have met such an amazing community of people, and not just here in PA, but in Jersey, and the people from Atlanta and the people from Florida and all the people we've met in Ohio, it's been overwhelmingly unbelievable how welcoming this community has been. The guys we skate with here, we've got OG Smooth and we've got the Shuffle King guys, and it's just an unbelievably tight knit group of people that I can't even speak enough about how welcoming they've been to both of us, and it all started honestly with this guy opening doors.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Your story in that sense is one of many people's story, including my own. I mean, whether it's this thing that we're talking on, right? I remember the day that when I came to Philly, I remember the first time I asked Ray, I was like, so wait, you just because he did the social media thing and everything. I'm like, wait, so you just put people on, you just showcase people? That's what you do, And I don't even know if you remember this conversation, Ray, but we were skating, and I literally said that to him. He's like, yeah, that's what I do, And then he went on to talk about how he doesn't care if it's the best skater or it's about the happiest skater, and everything that I'm doing, the people that I'm connected to, everything, right? Which ironically keeps me too busy to come to Philly enough anymore. But it's a result of coming to Philly, of meeting Ray. You know what I mean? Literally that. I remember literally asking that question. Wait, so you're just telling me you just showcase people? You just put people on, And in a weird way, it was like, oh, okay. I get it. I mean, and that's all this is. That's all this is, man. All this stems from meeting Ed and Ray for me. And they hear about it all the time. I fucking say shit about this all the time about Ray. I'm always half crying on here every once in a while, talking about Ray or Ed, you know what I mean? But it's true. So I know what you're saying. I get it. You know what I mean? You are in the best possible place. I'm around the best people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt. The people have been amazing, and this guy, I mean, it's so funny because when I first met him, we would just see each other skate, and now we're playing in events. We're going out of town. We skate at Fantasy 2 times a month. Ray and Erica go. Yeah, we go to the same place for dinner afterwards every time now. So I mean, it's become like a family affair for us, honestly. I mean, these people, you'd say, oh yeah, they're my friends, but really they're family. And that's how I look at it. I truly feel that way. These people, they're not just people you want to skate with. They're people you hang out with outside of skating, and that's different.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Lauren, is there anything else that you wanted to throw out there? Anything you wanted to say before?
I guess Jimmy just mentioned right now I'm not just in chemo. I actually finally got selected for a clinical trial, which is my oncologist is actually the one who invented it, and it's worldwide. And basically what they did was I had to get a catheter put into my abdomen, and very painfully, they put in the smallpox virus in a liquid form, a lot, like bags like this big, 2 of them. And then for about 3 hours, they roll you every 5 minutes from side to side so that it goes wherever it needs to go. And it doesn't sound like it's that bad because you think, oh, it's okay, it's a liquid.
That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible.
Painful. I mean, there were times when the virus was going in that I would almost black out. My eyes would roll behind my head because the pain was so intense, and they would quick stop it. They'd pinch off the tubing, and then I had to like gather myself and like mentally, okay, we can do this. Okay, go. And then they do it until I just couldn't take it anymore, until it's all in there. And once it's all in, then you start the hours of the back and forth. And that happened twice. Had to do that. The first day, and then you go home, and then you come back the second day. And what it was designed to do was increase the amount of T cells that you have, which are your fighter cells, because your body is recognizing that you've got this virus. It's a modified form of smallpox, so I didn't obviously get smallpox or anything, but and then once that part of it's done, then you start the chemo. And the other thing that the virus does is it helps weaken the walls of your cells, so after you start getting, and that it weakens the shell, say, of the cell so that the chemo can get better. So the concept is a great idea, but I'll tell you, it was a lot more than what I thought was going to happen. Then really caused me gastroparesis, basically paralyzation of the stomach and your intestines. I'm dealing with it right now. I wasn't sure if I was going to be tonight, but I'm glad that I was mentally push it aside because I'm ready for you and always.
So hot.
Feel the
But anyway, so it's 6 rounds of chemo at the least is my thing, and so back on Monday, that next Wednesday, I get my 4th round, unless my blood work doesn't look so, and I'll be, hopefully not too bad, but I base it on the last first one in the hospital, and second one in the hospital, but to deal with it at home. What I learned the time I was in the hospital, I tried to do some of that stuff that they at home. It's been a lot more than I thought. But the goal is, from day one, I to go through what I got to go through, cancer free. So that's the end goal.
Man, wow, man, yeah, I can't imagine this. I mean, the strength that you have, it blows me. I want to say, the thing I'll there to you guys is, one is thank you for your and your honor, and because if there's something else too, who knows, maybe someone else that gets that kind of news, you know what I mean, or something, like put yourself out there, like yeah, I mean it's a big thing, and I think it could probably make difference for some, you know. So I for just being as open as you are and as honest as you are and as brave as you are. And I know myself, I know Ray, I know everybody involved. Going to do everything we can, you know, to make this a worthwhile thing coming up here at the Skate Bash. So, and I thank you for kind of pushing through today, you know what I mean, to make this happen.
Thank you.
So,
I'm glad I was able to.
Well, if there's nothing else, I don't have anything else. I will definitely make sure that I figure out what your guys' socials are, because I like to do some I promote these things pretty heavily. I'll make sure I tag you, Ray, in every one of these things, you know. If there's any questions that you have between now and then, please feel free to reach out. If there's something that you wanted to, additional information, whatever, please don't hesitate anytime. But that's about it.
Thanks, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Good to go?
Yes, so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.